Just happy to see people from all over the world coming together. It's awfully cool. All right. Who else is here? Hey, Nicole. Mm, I thought I saw Rosie. Is Rosie still here? Let me try to track her down. Rosie B. Just scan. Oh, there we go. No, maybe not. All right. Well, it's nice to look through. Maybe everyone can, if you can, for a moment, just turn your camera off and we can all at least wave and say hi. If you missed the beginning, we were shouting out our best highlight in the last couple of days. And if you want, you can drop in where you're from. We can get a little personal here. Lots of friends from overseas. Zoe Rose, good morning. Super cool to see everybody. Gosh, people are signing on so fast. Did I see? Hey, Michael Johnson, what was the yoga studio in Detroit that you were associated with?
That was Updog Yoga.
Which one?
Updog Yoga.
What was the person's name that ran that? Do you remember?
Oh, it went
Brian,
through a couple different hands. I think you're talking about Red
Brian,
Lotus Yoga, Brian Grenadier. Red
Brian
Lotus Yoga.
Grenadier. That's exactly it. There we go, Becky. Red Lotus, Brian Grenadier.
He's
See,
awesome.
you know how the song goes. I feel complete. I feel like our whole mission today is done now. Now it's just dessert. Cool. Thank you, Michael. That was driving me crazy. Okay, we'll give it another. Now let's start. Take a last sip of coffee. Take a stretch if you want. You can warm up your fingers if you want. Do what you need to do. Do some silly games. Take a big, let's do this one. I don't know. Maybe some people haven't done this one yet. Turn your cameras on. Michael Johnson, I think your kid would love this if we haven't done it. I think so. Put your owl glasses on. Fingers up at the top of your forehead. And then just simply flip them so the fingers are still at the top. And then you can judge and evaluate everyone on screen to make sure that they're doing it right. Anastasia, you got it now? Just flip it. Just put the glasses on and flip. Olga, what's going on? Javier, let's have a look. Glasses and flip and flip and flip. All right, Michael Johnson, I expect a video of you and your kid showing off. Kevin, great to see you. Um, Kevin, reach out. Tell me what's going on in your life after the class or something. Awesome to see you. So many friends. I'd love to just sit here and say hi. That's probably not why you signed up. So we'll talk about why we are here. Um, Aka, Karina, Sophie, please give me the sign when I go too fast. I'll try to. Here's the problem. If I try to drink sporadically to slow down, I'm drinking coffee, which is going to have an interesting effect on this technique. See how it goes. I appreciate the time I get to spend with you all. Drops of Wisdom. It's a monthly opportunity for the community to come together and connect. My take is it's relaxed. You can be in your pajamas if you're on the West Coast or East Coast. Anywhere, I don't care. You can interrupt. You can raise your hand. You can argue with me. It's like informal class time. And you can just be obnoxious and debate Earl at any time. Okay. And drops of wisdom will happen once a month. And just time to connect with other people. Less formal, not a big course. Time to hang out, connect with the community across the world. Okay. Today, I want to talk about something I've been really thinking about a lot and talking about a lot. And it's called the 6 R's of meditation, which probably translates terribly. It's 6 words that start with the letter R in English. Okay. Good luck, translators. Hopefully that makes sense. I need a new name. At the end of this, someone suggest a new name. 6 steps of meditation. It's 6 things to do when we find we're distracted in meditation, just in case anyone has that problem. Okay. If you don't have that problem, you can space out until the second half when we're going to talk about triggers and glimmers. And that's our plan today. The 6 R's I learned from a teacher named Bhante Vimalaramsi. Hope I got that right. And I've used it a lot recently, so we'll talk about it. So let's get going. And then hopefully we'll have sometimes for questions at the end, or we'll do a meditation. We'll see how it goes. So meditation, I was thinking today that meditation is I think this often, but it's the hardest thing I've ever tried to do in my life. Like far and away, I've spent more hours trying to meditate. And I feel like if I had put that amount of hours into playing guitar, I could play you a song. I'd be good. I could definitely lead the campfire song, or dancing, or I'd be proficient at anything that I've spent that much time on. And meditation, I feel it's been the hardest thing for me to try in my life, which is fine. But it reminded me of a time I went to my teacher, one of my teachers, John Yates, and we would go to his place and we would sit. We were in the yurt, the little yurt, and we started meditating. And I immediately was like this. Actually, when I fall asleep, I lean back. And so I was like falling asleep in meditation. And at the end of the session, he's like, Earl, what's going on? Did you not sleep last night? I was like, no, I slept great. I'm like wide awake now. Slept awesome last night. And he's like, you've trained your mind to sleep in meditation. My point was, I think of like if I try pretty much anything more and more and more, I get better at it. Meditation, I think we can try more and get worse. If we don't have a teacher, if we don't know what we're doing, I think we can put a lot of effort into meditation and get worse through developing bad habits. And so my bad habit was meditating too long and getting used to a sinking, dull de-energized state. And I thought that was kind of meditation. It felt okay. And I did it all the time. I'm meditating and I just trained my mind to fall asleep. And he made me stand up in the back of the classroom, in the back of the meditation room. Everyone would be sitting meditating. And I'd be like the one person, in the corner of the round yurt with like, I always felt like the old pictures where you'd have to wear like the stupid hat in class. You'd have to stand at the back of the room with the dunce hat, the dumb hat. And he would make me stand up meditation for months or do a lot of walking meditation. And I would find someone somewhere very high to walk. Sometimes I'd do this in retreat. I would walk along the roof of my cabin and train my mind to not be tired. Because if you fall asleep while you're walking on the roof, it's not great. So, I had to learn how to do it. And let's look at those first steps of meditation. When we talk meditation, we talk about, different levels of meditation, different problems, different solutions. And let's go through those beginning problems. What's the first problem of meditation? Someone said sleepiness. Someone said not meditating. I like that answer. The first problem of meditating is not meditating. Interesting. It's like what translates lay low as laziness. First problem. And we say laziness like not wanting to meditate. I like Kevin's answer. It's just not meditating. It's not doing it. And I think I've been thinking a lot this year about it's warm in my bed and cold outside, and I don't want to get up. That is a specific form of laziness. I think it's like we've identified something we want to do in our life, and we don't do it. We've determined, I want to meditate. It's important. I have a value, a core value of I want to meditate. 8 o'clock, I want to meditate every morning. My recent commitment for March, 8 o'clock every day meditate. And then things come up. I have to teach, right? Or what happens is we have all of these life priorities like work, feeding the dog, feeding the kid. I have to eat. All of these things that have to happen in life. And so when I have a break in life, then there's time for me to meditate. I can fit my meditations into my life. And so I don't have time this morning. So I have time from 2 until 3. So I'll have an early afternoon meditation. And then what happens is somebody calls me to go for coffee, or a meeting comes up, or I just ate food, or any number of things, and then it doesn't fit anymore. So maybe I'll try tonight at 7. I'm trying to fit my meditation practice into my life. And a big change for me in my practice was when I stopped doing that. And I fit my life into my meditation practice. Okay, here's what I have to do. I have to meditate. I have to study. I want to do my book 6 times a day. And so my life has to fit around, I want to do retreat. So my life has to fit into my practice. My life has to fit into the core values that I've established. And those core values are going to include work. They're going to include relationship. But can they also include meditation? Or whatever it is that we've determined as our core value. And to me, that's laziness, this idea of lay low. It's not so much that I didn't get up today. It's a much bigger thing of, I've identified my priorities, meditate at 8, but then what I find is I'm drinking coffee, scrolling through internet garbage, right? And I haven't prioritized, or I've gone for coffee with a friend, or I've done something that doesn't reflect my values. So laziness is living a life that doesn't reflect our value. And that to me has been a big change when I think of it like that. Second step of meditation, get on the cushion. Step 1. Step 2, who's got a step 2 for meditation? Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat very well. Step 2 of meditation, put your mind on the object. Kevin got all the answers. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I did this the other day. I caught myself like 15 minutes into a meditation session and realized I had no object. I had no idea what I was doing. I just sat down, just kind of happily chilled out, no object. And I was like, oh, didn't do that second step.
那Naji，你不是要请那个吗？
Sorry. So step 2 is we need an object. Why do we need an object? We need an object so that we can have the second problem of meditation, which is forgetting the object. So it's like, sit down on my cushion, choose an object, and now I'm able to have the second problem, forgetting the object. And so in a sense, we could eliminate the second problem of forgetting the object by never choosing one, but I don't think that's a good solution. So we choose an object, and this is where the 6 R's come in. Once we choose that object, we decide to put our mind on an object. We'll say sensation or breath at the tip of the nose. We now have that second problem of, at some point, most of us forget that object. I want to focus on this. I put my mind on the object, set my intention, and then I'm thinking about my to-do list. I'm worried about finances, about a relationship, I'm daydreaming. And then what happens often is there's a realization I'm off the object. And then if we watch the mind at that moment, it's really important, I think. Because one thing that happens, I think, is we rush back into the meditation. Oh my God, I only have 10 minutes left. I have to get on my object. I just wasted 10 minutes. I'm so bad at this. 10 minutes I've been daydreaming about hockey again, about relationship, about whatever. This is so hard. And then we do all of these things that are counterproductive to meditation. So what would be productive? First step, recognize we're off the object. And that's a really interesting idea, because can we be in a state of daydreaming and then recognize we're off the object? Like when we're spaced out, when we're daydreaming, can we realize we're daydreaming? And I don't think so. So how do we actually do this first step? Right? First step is to recognize we're off the object. And it's almost like an appreciation after the fact. Like we wake up to the fact that we're off the object. And then we take a moment to recognize that moment of waking up. John Yates, one of my teachers, said that waking up is a subconscious part of the mind. It's not a thing we can purposefully control. So what do we do? At that moment, it's like the dog, we threw the ball for the dog came back, dropped the ball, and we give the dog a treat. So with that moment of waking up, we recognize that moment of waking up. And what's the dog treat at that moment? To me, it could often be very subtle, like just straightening up a bit. Okay, or I like to just have a bit of a stupid smile on my face. Maybe take a deep, fuller breath. It can be very subtle. Or I'm noticing the qualities of a mind that's present in the present, and how beautiful it is to be present in the present. And so we can recognize that state. It's kind of like a game of find the person that's unmuted. Reminds me of the game when you're at the festival and there's like the thing that comes up that you're supposed to hit. It's called whack-a-mole in English. The thing comes up. Feel like that about self-cherishing. Like when self-cherishing arises, it's like that game of like the whack-a-mole, the mole comes up and you're supposed to. Okay, first step, recognize we're off the object. Step 2 is to release the object, let go of the distraction. That sounds obvious. Why would I want to hold on to the distraction? Well, often it's way more interesting. Often it's just way better. It's super seductive. We can all dream about things that are super interesting and entertaining, and they can be uplifting. They can be super virtuous, but they're not the object. And the object can feel boring. Oh, I have to stop daydreaming about, living out my fantasy so I can go back to breath. It doesn't seem like a great deal in some ways. And so what happens is we take the mind from the distraction and put it back on the object. But to me, it feels like it's still tethered. It's still tied to a rope. To me, it's like something sticky, like gum that you chew, It's like this sticky thing that my mind's on the object, bring my mind back to the breath. But there's this sticky, stretchy thing that wants to pull my mind back. And so we need to cut that, like really consciously cut the distraction, let it go. And so for me, when it's like I'm daydreaming, I'm going to go back to the object. Okay, I did that. And then I relax. And then my tendency is right away to go back to the distraction. And so for me, it's like, it's so important to go back to the object. And then 1 second later or 2 seconds later, did I actually do that? Because I can be like, okay, I found my breath, daydreaming. You know, it's like that, okay, meditating, object, breath. Okay, found it, daydreaming immediately, especially at the beginning of my meditation. So find that object, plant the mind there. And then for me, it's like 2 seconds later, it's like a fly that lands on something and it just immediately leaves. And so when we release the object, my feeling is, to check, did I release the object? Like, did I really sever that object? And did I let it go? Okay. And one of the things that I think is really important is mind is on the object. We wake up to the fact we're daydreaming. First step, recognize. Second step, release that object. I go back to my object. And then creating an intention to keep it there. And that step's super important. And that, for me, is helpful to not immediately go back to what I'm distracted about. My intention is to meditate on this object. I'm not going to lose it. Okay. First step, recognize we're off the object. Or it's more like recognizing we woke up. Second step, release that object. Third step, and this one was the one that was new to me, is to relax. And the theory that this teacher said is anytime there's distraction, anytime the mind goes to distraction, there's a state of tension. Subtle, or sometimes it's very obvious. Sometimes I'm just stressing out about work and the tension is super obvious. Sometimes I'm just worried about money, or I'm regretting the past, or having fear of the future. And that tension is obvious. And then when we recognize being present in the present, recognizing the relaxation of that tension is so beautiful and reinforces the mind wanting to be in the present. It's reinforcing that mind waking up. It's the treat for the dog, recognizing that quality of beauty of being in the present. And so what about just a subtle distraction? If my mind just goes to a sound or a random thought, not a big, long distraction about stressful work. What about just a subtle, brief distraction? Is there a sense of tension with all distraction? And that's what this teacher taught. He said, yeah. And I was fascinated by that, investigating whether that was true. He said, there's a covering on your brain that with distraction shrinks and actually squeezes the brain a bit. And he said, try and feel it. I don't know if that's true. I did try to feel it. I can't. But I did notice every time I was distracted, there was some degree of tension. I don't know if my skull is like squeezing my brain a bit. Not sure that that's true. But I've noticed there's tension or a little bit of stress every time I'm distracted. And so to relax. And it's been so beautiful to just, and not, one of the things I found was that I would rush back into my meditation. Oh, I have to meditate. I have to get back to my object. I have to get better. I'm running out of time. You know, or just anything that we do that's adding tension and stress into our meditation is counterproductive. Relax. It's like this awesome moment of, oh, I was distracted. Cool. Release the object, the distraction, and then notice tension and relax. The fourth step is to rejoice, to feel happy. And these start to blur a little bit. They start to, at first, when I do this, it's kind of clunky. Okay, recognize. Okay, what's number 2? Release. Okay. What's number 3? But with practice, it becomes very smooth and very quick. And with relaxation, it's very easy to rejoice or to just feel good. Just a little bit of an uplifted feeling. And like I said, that reinforces that whole process. The mind wants to do things that feel good. Next step. At some point, we have to return back to the object. So the 5th step is to return. And like I said, returning to the object and creating an intention to stay there. Okay. And then the last one is to repeat it, however many times we need to. Okay. Hopefully that, we can get to a state where we don't lose the object. This process will lead us to that state. Until then, we repeat it. Recognize we're off the object, which means appreciate that moment of awakening. Release the object. Relax. Rejoice. Return. And then repeat as necessary. Now, and that's it. And like I said, with practice, I think if I'm off the object for a long time, I'll be real methodical about that. It can take my time. If my mind just leaves the object briefly, then those 6, it feels like, oh, that's a lot. I don't want to do that every time I get distracted. But I find it can be pretty quick. It can happen as quickly as just straightening up and smiling. So that whole process was taught to me as a practice off the cushion, like something we would do in the day. And that's, so we can take that, we can do that in formal meditation, but also outside of meditation. And it's a very beautiful way to continue to cultivate a meditative state of mind throughout the day. My experience is if I limit meditation to 20 minutes, 30 minutes formal meditation, like try to control my mind for 20 minutes a day. And then for the other 23 hours, just let it go wild. Progress is slow. Like it's like one step forward and then 4 or 5 steps back. So really think of meditation only as on the meditation cushion. I think is a very tough, slow process. Integrating meditation as to something that happens in the day, I think is, for me, was another big change where then I could progress a little more. And so what would off the cushion practice be like? And this is where we get into an idea of a trigger versus a glimmer. And these words are kind of new to me. So I'm probably not exact in how I think of it. But this is how I think of it. I think we're familiar with the idea of a trigger. We get triggered. We get up, something happens and we get upset. Something happens that brings us to a state of tension or a state of stress, or brings us back to a traumatic event in our life. It's something that puts us into a state of tension, fight, flight, freeze, or hide, or any sort of state of tension. And then a glimmer is the opposite of that. A glimmer is something that brings us out of that state, you could say. So, or just brings us into a state of happiness. And so what happens is there's a part of our brain that's constantly looking for the negative in the environment, that's constantly looking for the problems in our world. It's a part of the brain that it creates this negativity bias. It creates the tendency to look for danger in the environment. And we have to fight that. And so there's all these opportunities to bring our mind into a state of happiness. And that's my idea of this state called a glimmer. We're running out of time. I'll go quicker. What's a glimmer? To me, it's just like, I do glimmer research on TikTok. And it's like going through videos that just make me smile. Like, what's the video that's just kind of the thing that makes my heart smile? And for me, it's like people that have been away that come home and surprise their mom on her birthday. Or I watch a lot of hockey fights. Those are not the one. Hockey fights are a different part of my brain that for some reason I watch, but they don't make me feeling like, oh, I want to share that with the world. It's kind of like this secret naughty pleasure. But when I see sports and I see somebody score, a winning goal, and everyone in the crowd goes wild, and the team is all excited, that makes me happy. Or seeing like stupid cat video, stupid dog video, anything that just makes us happy, that puts a little smile on our face and in our heart. Let's call that a glimmer. And then what would happen if that was the meditation object that we have all day? We find that feeling that could be how we feel with music, or anything that connects us to joy, that connects us to compassion. And if we train our mind to fight that negativity bias, to find the glimmers in our life, to find the glimmers in our environment, the simple joys in hearing children laughter. As I was talking, there was a beautiful red bird landed outside my window, which in New York is exceedingly rare. Wildlife, amazing. I'm so glad something is living in the city. And then to fill our life with things that make our heart smile. And then to keep that state in our heart as our practice all day. And then just if we can do that and just radiate that out from our heart constantly. In my mind now, I've got this mudra and sound. It's like a mantra and a mudra. And it's just me like radiating out stupid cat videos and like people scoring the game-winning goal in hockey. It's just like this silent me walking through the world, spreading the emotion of my TikTok internet research of glimmers. And then when I lose that, which is all the time, 6 R's. Oh, recognize I lost my glimmer. Release whatever thing I'm thinking about. Check to see if there's a state of tension. Generally, for sure. Okay. Relax. Just go back to glimmering and shimmering. And return to that simple feeling in our heart. And the guy that taught it to me, he was like smile, like put a smile back on your face. And to me, it has to be more than that. It can't just be like I can do a fake smile all day and not be sending out game-winning goal hockey videos. So it has to be that feeling in the heart connected to the smile on our face. And then repeat as necessary. And and then can we walk through the world finding that? And then as someone reminded me, it's not like we then ignore all of the bad things, right? It's not like I then ignore the painful feelings in my world or the suffering around me, but can I approach those situations from a state of love and compassion? Can I enter those harder situations holding that same glimmer in my heart? I still might have to have a hard conversation with somebody. Still might have to deal with stress. But can I find the joy in those hard situations also? And then can I relate that back to meditation, formal on the cushion? And to see that feeling comes with states of deep meditation naturally. So we're training our mind. It's like we're helping ourselves access deep states of meditation by training our mind in qualities that are present in those states of meditation. Does that make sense? So in those deep states of meditation, there's qualities in Tibetan, it's called Shinjang, mental tranquility, mental pleasing, happy mental state, happy physical state. Prana is flowing well. Mind is just in this pleasant, joyful state. That glimmer is part of the deeper meditation experience. So if I can train in holding that state in my heart in the day, I'm training myself in a quality that comes naturally with deeper states of meditation. And then can that help us access those deeper states of meditation? Interesting thought experiment. Let's do a quick meditation. And we'll do a meditation that was taught by a guy named Ryan Redman. I am forever grateful to Ryan. It's called Harvest Joy. Super simple. And I do this in my day. And it's just stopping, going through my senses, eyes, ears, nose. Is there something joyful in my direct experience? Like, do I need to create something to be happy? Or just recognize that there's something already there that if I tapped into, if I paid attention to, it would make me happy. And this is a many years long experiment. Every time I've stopped in my life and tried to see if there was something in my direct experience that made me happy, I found something. Not necessarily total ecstasy, but something that I could experience that put a smile on my face. Like the world, there's always a glimmer out there. Let's try it out. We'll take a double inhale, long exhale. And again. And exhale. Take a moment to find the sensation of breath. At the tip of the nose. And we'll use that as the anchor for the meditation, something we can come back to or anchor ourselves to. From that state of being present in the present, we'll journey through the senses and see if there's something pleasant, pleasing. We'll start with can we hear something that makes us smile? Could be a sound in nature. Maybe the soft hum of a refrigerator or appliance. Or maybe it's the sound of silence. Move to the sensation of smell. Aroma of coffee or the fresh smell of clothes. Maybe we find something, maybe we don't. Move to the sense of taste. Is there a joy just to be present with a sense of taste? Or the feeling of liquidity in the mouth? The sense of touch. I like noticing going from the sun to the shade on a hot day or from the shade to the sun on a cold day. the feeling of putting on my warm socks in the morning. You can either open your eyes to see something that's pleasing, or imagine keeping your eyes shut. Imagine the room. This is something in your presence that when you look at, brings a smile to your face and a smile to your heart. Take a few minutes to journey through the senses on your own to see if you can find things in your immediate experience that are enjoyable. Could even be the sense of thought. And then choose something for the day to hold in your heart. Something that elicits a feeling, like an inner smile. And then let's try an experiment. What would it be like to hold that in my heart all day? And when I lose it, practice the 6 steps to come back to it. And with that, we can come back to the space and the meditation room. Oh, there's never enough time. I would love to hear how it went for people. And to get to hang out with everybody more. We've come to the end of our hour. So I just want to thank you for being part of the community. And it's just so helpful for me to have a community to practice with, to learn from, to share ideas with, and to get to spend my time with so many beautiful smiling faces from around the world. I appreciate it. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Announcements. We'll do this next month. I think it's Bob and Duodo next month, and they'll be talking about some of the Yoga Sutras. Duodo is a friend living in China, amazing yoga teacher, and when Bob will talk about the Yoga Sutra. Other than that, there's lots going on in the YSI world. If you're living in Asia, Chinese-speaking community, there is a Lady Naguma program coming up, Foundation. So please check with those distributors that provide those services. If you have access to the YSI website, then you can check out the programs that are coming up there as well. I would love to just hang out, but we'll have to check back in next time, and love to hear how the practice goes. Like, can we really just try to hold that smile on our face, in our heart, through the day, and take that into the situations that are beautiful and challenging. Okay. Thanks, y'all. Karina, did I miss any crucial announcements?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Bob, if I forgot anything, Sophie, please jump in. Thank you for translating, all of you beautiful translators.
So much.
Thank you, teacher. We love you.
So good to see you all.
Thank you, Thank you, everyone.
We need music to dance.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you all soon.
Марина, благодарю.
Всем спасибо. Катюш, спасибо за перевод.